Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. David, that was just so perfect for June. I'm Wendy Jessup. I am honored to serve as a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are she, her, and I welcome you to our community. We are so happy that you're here in person and online. We've got a very short service for you today because we have the exciting move into the Reeb Center for the UU service of the national service, which will be very exciting and very I hope will fill you with great warmth. So no matter who you are, what your identification is, how you have come here, your abilities and disabilities seen and unseen, we welcome you and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. Happy Pride Month and happy Father's Day. I know we've all had a father somewhere, whether they are happy memories or good or our fathers. And we will see you during the service. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm always really grateful to support the leadership of our Board of Trustees, just not typically quite so immediately with my microphone. And it's a little hot. Cameron, can you pop it down for me? Thank you so much. I'm Reverend Amanda Poppy. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm honored to serve as senior minister here at UUCA. And as Wendy said, we have an unusual service today. It is possible that this service could be titled, "Can Reverend Amanda actually do a service that she keeps within half an hour?" And so we'll see. You'll let me know at the end. Just start going like this if you are getting nervous. We're going to learn a little bit of Unitarian Universalist history. We're going to sing some hymns, some ones that are beloved by this congregation and some that you may not have heard before or may not have heard for a long time. We're going to talk a little bit about why those hymns are relevant to our history, and we're going to talk about what it means to be part of a larger Unitarian Universalist movement. And yes, that's all happening in half an hour. And then we're going to head over to Reeb Center, and we're going to join with our sibling Unitarian Universalists all over the world, and in particular across the country and in Canada, as we share in the General Assembly service this year. So I am so glad to be with you. I'm glad to be sharing worship with David, our director of music, and I'm excited that you have what are often our children's orders of service in front of you. Christina creates these orders of service for our kids, especially when we have multi-gen, so that they can follow along. It's a visual order of service, but I hope that you enjoy them. I also really like them, so have fun with that. Whether you are online, I hope you'll say hello in the chat and greet each other. If you are here in our cozy little circle in the sanctuary, I invite you to turn toward each other and say hello this morning. Good morning, friends. It is good to be together. I hope that we're going to keep that togetherness up through this service and the next service and our coffee time as well. I'm planning to get you out early enough that you can grab a cup of coffee before we go sit down. So, Our call to worship, as we're talking about Unitarian Universalism in our national and international movement, our call to worship comes from William F. Schultz, who served as president of the Unitarian Universalist Association some couple of decades ago. And he shares these simple words: "Come into this place of peace, and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory, and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power, and let its vision change your heart." Come, friends, let us worship together. Each week here at UUCA, we light a candle of compassion in solidarity with those who are suffering around the world from violence or war, from loneliness, from hunger. Today, I light our candle for all those who continue to struggle against oppression, against the systemic oppressions that have been part of our country and therefore our movement's history since its founding, the oppressions we work against, and those that continue and require our vigilance. And along with our sibling Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world, we light a chalice on Sunday mornings. And I invite you to join me in the chalice lighting words. You'll find those in that order of service. I'll share the words in blue and invite you to join me in the words in the white box. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world. There we go. We are continuing to experiment with a new chalice that uses alcohol to burn instead of paraffin. And one of the things I have found is that you have to believe it is working, because at first the alcohol burns clear. And so you are not sure if you have lit the flame, and there is a metaphor and probably a whole sermon in there. But here we are, our chalice is lit. I invite you to join, to rise in body or in spirit, and to join in singing our first hymn, Love Will Guide Us. It's number 131 in the gray hymnal. This is an older hymn, one that we've sung for many years here at UUCA. Love will guide us, peace has tried us. Will you be seated? As someone who grew up Unitarian Universalist, I often find that our hymns sort of guide me through our history and through my understanding of Unitarian Universalism. And that is one of the hymns that I grew up singing. It was written sometime in the 80s by Sally Rogers. The music was created by a Unitarian Universalist, which you can tell because in the hymnal there's a little chalice symbol next to the name of the composer. That's one of the ways you can tell the sources and which ones are Unitarian or Universalist or Unitarian Universalist. And I saw in the back there, just as we were finishing the hymn, a couple of congregants giving a like, yes, love will guide us. It is indeed a rousing hymn, and I really grew up with a lot of hymns that kind of spoke to the possibility of movement forward. And so as we talk and start thinking about the history of Unitarian Universalism, I think we see a history of movement forward through the time. We start with the very beginnings of Unitarian Universalism. You can find the very beginnings in the Council of Nicaea in the 3rd century, but we're not going to do that part. We're going to fast forward to the Radical Reformation, to the Protestant Reformation in Europe, which you may remember from history class, or maybe you have learned about it even this year. I have a couple of our 3rd graders with us today, and I know that they learned about Unitarian Universalism this year. Maybe they'll share a little with us later. But Unitarian Universalism really had its start, and Unitarianism in particular, in the Radical Reformation in Europe. So that's the Protestant Reformation started pulling off from Catholicism, right? Unfortunately, many bloody wars around that. And then people kept reforming, and the Radical Reformation took that idea of Protestantism, that we look right at the text, that we have a simple and clear understanding of the Bible. It took it even further. The Radical Reformation then kind of went off into the Amish and the Church of the Brethren and Mennonites and Unitarians. And some of those Unitarians stayed in Europe. In fact, at one time there was a Unitarian king who led the first kingdom that allowed people to be Catholic or Protestant as they chose. You didn't have to be the same religious tradition as the king. That was new in Europe at the time, and didn't continue then for some time. But that was a Unitarian king, and so some of those Unitarians stayed in Europe. And the next hymn that we're going to sing harkens back to those roots in Europe, those Radical Reformation roots in Europe, and to our Unitarian cousins that still live and practice in Europe, and particularly in Transylvania, which is in Romania. There are Unitarian churches, little Unitarian churches all through Transylvania, some of them with connections with Unitarian Universalist congregations here in the States, and there's a history of that in this church. And those churches in Transylvania are Christian Unitarian churches. They would feel different than our church, our Sunday morning, and yet there are ways that they would feel quite similar. The most significant one is because they are Unitarian, they hold the unity of God rather than the Trinity of God, right? That's sort of the biggest reformation of Unitarianism in that time, the rejection of the Trinity as found within Christianity, and instead the embrace of the unity of God. So there's God, and then Jesus is God's son, a prophet, a teacher, but not the same as God. The Transylvanian Unitarians still hold that and practice within that modality, and their worship, although different, also holds similarities to our own. And one of the other hymns that I grew up singing is a Transylvanian hymn. So it's sung still in Transylvanian churches and then appears as well in our hymnal. So as we think about our connections today and our connections back through history. I'm going to invite us, as we go into the offering, David is going to share just a little bit of the tune of that. We'll take our offering today, and then we're going to sing that hymn. Before we do that, I will share that our June Share the Plate, it goes to Equality Virginia, which is a statewide nonprofit advocacy organization. This Pride Month, we are particularly aware both of the amendment coming up on the Virginia ballot in the fall that would strike down the current language that says that marriage is between one man and one woman. And we're aware of the many anti-trans bills that have come up in Virginia over the last years, and I'm sure will come still, all of which Equality Virginia was able to squash, was able to prevent from becoming enshrined in our laws here in Virginia. So we want to continue to support their work. 70% of what we receive on Sundays goes to our Share the Plate recipient, and 30% supports our ongoing mission. So we'll receive that offering as David plays, and then he's going to lead us into the hymn. That hymn is Find a Stillness, and it's 352 in your gray hymnal.
Please join me in singing 352. You can remain seated. Find a stillness, hold the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Thank you so much for singing that hymn. As David and I were looking at it earlier, this week. I said, I don't know why, I just loved that hymn when I was a teenager. And he said, well, it's kind of angsty. Which is true. It is kind of angsty. I invite you in a non-angsty way to share in our offering blessing as our ushers have brought that offering forward. The words are in your order of service. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Thank you so much. Find a Stillness is a kind of angsty hymn. David, I'm sure, could tell us exactly why that is. Musically, it's in a minor key. It ends on an unresolved something or other. But I think that it is a good one when looking at some of the differences in style between that Unitarian religion and worship in Europe, in Transylvania in the 17th centuries and later, and as it has continued to develop, and the kind of Unitarianism that then began to develop in the 19th century in the United States. And that's often where we imagine our history beginning. We forget some of those earlier roots. In the 19th century, Unitarianism began to pop up as an idea, particularly in Congregationalist churches. So those are the churches that descended from the Puritans, largely in New England, although not entirely. And in those churches, as ministers read the text closely, all of them Protestant, right? We're like fully in the Protestant realm now. As they read the text closely, they began to change from Trinitarian to Unitarian beliefs, so to hold that unity of God rather than the Trinity. And they also rejected the idea of original sin. Instead of being born sinful and needing to be cleansed of that sin because of the fall of Adam, the Unitarian preachers believed that we were all born as a blank slate, able to do good, able to do wrong. People growing, as one of the founders of Unitarianism would say, growing in likeness to God, seeking to be more and more like the divine. So in the 19th century America, Unitarianism started popping up in these Congregationalist churches in mostly intellectual, upper middle class, strongly majority white churches in New England. People used to say the Unitarians believed in the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, and the neighborhood of Boston. And indeed, it really was a movement that lived within that area and then began to grow from there. And you'll still see, if you go to Massachusetts or to New England in general, a much higher number of Unitarian churches per capita up there, although I will say they tend to be a little smaller than the ones that then were planted and grew all through the United States. As Unitarianism was coming up within that particular milieu, that particular kind of group of churches and of people, Universalism was also popping up as an idea in Congregationalist churches, in Baptist churches, and with thinkers and preachers and ministers all up and down the East Coast, more typically in more rural areas, not quite so upper crust as the Unitarians, not among the intellectuals, but among folks who were, again, reading the Bible closely and who believed that a loving God would never condemn some people to hell. And so instead, they believed in universalism, in universal salvation. That's where we have that name Universalism from, and you can hear in Unitarianism the unity of God. So we know some of that history of those two traditions. They merged in 1962. I bet that the third graders learned about the merger in 1962. Do you remember? No, they're not sure anymore. But Anyway, it did merge in 1962 to become the movement that we are today, a national and international movement of Unitarian Universalists. One of the things that I find most interesting about our movement is that the highest authority is the congregation itself. We don't have bishops, we don't have a pope, there's nobody that can tell us what we should do on Sunday mornings. It's entirely up to the worship team and the people and we actually have a lot of shared practices on Sunday mornings. So if any of you have been to a Unitarian Universalist congregation in another place, another city, another state, even another country, you might have gone in and thought, well, it's a little different, but kind of a lot the same. And one of those shared practices in many, not all, but many Unitarian Universalist congregations is singing our next hymn, which we sing here every Sunday, hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. That hymn was created originally as a prayer by its author, who was not herself a Unitarian Universalist. She was, people sometimes like to say, UU adjacent. She kind of hung out with a lot of Unitarian Universalists, but she was Catholic. And after a justice meeting in the basement of a congregation, an interfaith meeting where people were trying to sort through a difficult justice issue and trying to show up well and arguing with each other, but because they all wanted something to really work, she was frustrated and excited, and out of that energy, she sat down and wrote a prayer, which was then set to music and became Spirit of Life. And through some kind of alchemy and sharing of music, that particular prayer and hymn is sung in many Unitarian Universalist congregations weekly, the way we do it, sometimes in Spanish, as we often do it, or throughout the year in Unitarian Universalist congregations. So I'll invite you into that. I invite you to take a breath first and to really enter into the history of this hymn, its history as a prayer born out of work and hope and possibility. Out of our shared history comes our shared practice, our lighting of a chalice, our singing of hymns. And also out of our history comes a commitment to the people, to the idea that Unitarian Universalism ultimately is and always has been shaped by its people. That's why Unitarian Universalist congregations may be the same or similar, but they are never identical, because they are shaped by the people who make up the congregation, by what we bring, our beliefs, our backgrounds, what we are interested in and engaged in, and what we wonder about, the questions we hold as a community, as a people, and the answers that we seek together. I do wonder if any of the third graders here you just have Billy today? Where's T? We don't know. Oh, well, okay. If any of the third graders today have anything you'd like to share that you remember from Sunday school this past year that you think folks should know, you can just shout it out and I'll repeat it if you want. Do you have anything you'd like to share from Sunday school that you remember about Unitarian Universalism? Yeah, you. The chalice. You remember the chalice. Yeah, that's a good one, right? That we light the chalice. Do you have anything you want to share, Louisa? Tell your mom. We definitely remember the chalice. And how to be kind to others. I really can't argue with that. Emerson, I know, remembers the chalice because she taught us about the chalice earlier this year and brought a beautiful picture of a chalice that she made. Here in Unitarian Universalism, we create our shared experience. And we are now a pluralistic religious movement, one that honors many different beliefs and different ways of being. And I think the hymn that holds that most fully is Blue Boat Home. So I want to invite you now to rise in body or in spirit. That hymn is in your teal hymnal, our newer hymnal, not one I grew up with. And it helps us sing of the world we share.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can stay. I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean, travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of heavens in our beautiful boat. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat.
I invite you to join me in our chalice extinguishing words, which are found in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world. Friends, I didn't quite do it, but close enough. Go grab your coffee and join us in Reeb Center for our General Assembly worship as we gather with Unitarian Universalists all across the country this morning. It is good to be with you.